Hello everyone. Laser as a light source is the topic for today's discussion. We know that there are optical sources which are used in optical communication system. The main optical sources are LED and laser. LED is used as indicator in different applications, electronic and electrical applications, and it can also be used as one of the optical source. Similarly, laser, which is even powerful optical source, is also used in optical communication as a source of generating light signal, because we know that in optical communication signal is transmitted in the form of light. So let us understand the concept of laser from the point of view of the laser which is used for or used as light source or optical source. So basically when we talk about laser, laser stands for light amplification by stimulated emission of radiation. There is a term which is very important called as stimulated emission. Stimulated emission. This stimulated emission is one of the types of emissions. We have three different phenomena in quantum mechanics: absorption, spontaneous emission, and stimulated. Spontaneous generally takes place inside LED, whereas the stimulated, which is even powerful with more directivity, more focused beam in narrower wavelength, is present in laser. So laser stimulates atoms or molecules to emit light at particular wavelength. There is a stimulation of the photons or atoms, which is seen in the form of light. The light is always at certain wavelength. You can see here in the diagram, there are different colors of, there are different laser sources generating different colors. So laser does not only generate or emit light, but it also amplifies the light and produces a very focused and narrow beam of radiation. Therefore, the name is light amplification by stimulated emission of radiation. Radiation is stimulated, but the stimulated emission is a process that emits the light, a narrower beam of certain wavelength, but we want its intensity to be very high so that it can travel to large distance, and therefore amplification is also the process which is involved in laser. And therefore the laser is called as, or it stands for, light amplification by stimulated emission of radiation. The emission covers extremely limited range of visible, infrared and ultraviolet wavelengths. Extremely limited range of either visible band or infrared band or ultraviolet band. All these different bands can be generated, different bands of colors, different bands in which different colors can be generated by laser. This is the constructional diagram where we can see there is a full mirror. We will understand why this mirror is there. Obviously, when the name mirror is there somewhere, so its main role is to reflect. So here also, this mirror is used to reflect the light. How does it reflect? We will understand when we discuss the different component. This is anode lead. From here, the signal starts, and then there is a cathode, and laser output is connected after cathode here, right? Then a star ring structure, partial mirror. So there is full mirror, there is a partial mirror. So both the side reflection takes place. But here, partial mirror, so that some light can pass, and that light can be seen as a laser output. If we have full mirror here and here, that is there both, then it will just keep on reflecting, and we will not be able to see any amount of light coming outside. And you can see clearly here, the beam of light which is being produced is a narrow beam, focused beam. And then this is gator, this is gas, reservoir, then outer housing is there. This is the arrangement. And if you see the further description, power cord is there to connect to the power, voltage converter is there, right? Because see, voltage will be converted into light signal. Laser casing is there where the structure, the laser material or laser device is housed inside. So this is the constructional diagram of laser where we can see all major components. The laser emission takes place by using the quantum mechanics theory. I already told you. Quantum mechanics theory. What is this quantum mechanics theory? Let us expand this. Can we expand this? Yes. Quantum mechanics theory, which limits atoms and molecules to having discrete amounts of stored energy levels that depend on nature of atom. Emission is it depends on different energy levels which are created by virtue of quantum mechanics theory. We know that the lowest energy level is there when electrons are all in nearest possible orbits to its nucleus. And this condition is called the ground state. There is a ground state, and when you go up the state, that higher energy level will increase. Higher energy level will increase. So when one or more of an atoms, electrons have absorbed energy, suppose there is absorption of some energy by electrons, what will happen? That electrons will move to the outer orbit, and that atom is then said to be excited atom. Why it is said to be excited? Because it has gained energy by absorbing energy from outside, and then it's trying to go up to higher energy level after acquiring energy. So when one or more of these electrons absorb the energy, then they can move to the outer orbit, and then this we have already discussed. It is referred as excited. The excited states are generally not stable, which means that the electrons cannot remain for a long time in the states where the energy level is high. So the excited states are not generally stable, and therefore the electrons jump from higher energy to low energy levels. And when there is a natural phenomenon, when some object, falls from high energy level to low energy level, there is a release of energy. So when the electron from high energy level to low energy level jumps, it drops to the ground state or lower energy levels, it will release the energy. And that energy is in the form of light. So this is the fundamental thing in the laser which we observe. All right. So the Einstein observed this all phenomena. This emission was also observed by Einstein as two different phenomena. One is spontaneous, second one is stimulated. So in laser we are talking about stimulated. The discrete packets of light, discrete light packets bundle, which are also called as photons, are emitted spontaneously without any outside excitation, the spontaneous emission. Supplying extra photons, suppose there is some energy, which is applied, and then the signal gets absorbs the energy, it goes to the high energy level. Spontaneous emission is the emission where the photons are emitted spontaneously, right? There is no much of outside excitation present. But when we supply extra photons from outside, and this process can stimulate an atom or molecule to emit light if passing photons energy matches the energy of electron, and then it releases the energy spontaneously when dropping to low energy level. When higher energy level, that is from high energy level to low energy level, when electron jumps or drops, it releases some energy. The spontaneously emitted photon is more likely to be absorbed and raise an electron from a low energy to high level energy level. When there is a photon, spontaneously photon, when it gets some energy, then it will try to go up, stimulating higher energy level to drop a low energy level by emitting second photon is called as stimulated emission. Is called as stimulated emission. When there is a photon, but extra photon is coming, so that will sync up with the photons in the high energy level, which will release some energy called as, that the process is called as stimulated emission. So if high energy configurations, high energy levels, they predominate, the spontaneously emitted photons are likely to stimulate further emissions and generating a cascade of photons. When the high energy level have more number of photons, and when then spontaneously emitted photons are there, they will stimulate the further process, releasing more and more number of, emitting more and more number of photons. So therefore we are using a term generating a cascade of photons, which is what is called as stimulated emission. This process is also called as population inversion. The reason is very simple. Why it is called as population inversion? Because at high energy level, there are more number of electrons. At ground level, at lower level, lesser number of electrons are there. So when from the energy level where the more number of carriers are there, and they are dropping down to low energy level, it means the population of the carriers is inverting. From higher, it's becoming lower, and wherever it was lower, it is becoming higher. So this process is called as population inversion. All right. So this can be done by illuminating the laser material with a bright light or passing electrical current through it. There is a laser material, when you pass electric current through it, this process may happen. And this may release the extra amount of energy, the cascade combination. See this diagram very carefully. We have taken this diagram from the source Britannica.com, where you see the diagram, which is very interesting here. There are electrons at level 1. You see here carefully. This level 1, better to use some marker, right? So that highlighter, you see here, this is the ground level, all right, or better to use pen. See, this is your ground level. Now when there is an excitation process, look at here, then this electrons, by absorbing the energy, it goes to high energy levels, from low energy state to high energy state. Now you see here, there are some states, metastable state, then there is a transition, level 2, and then transition. This is called as population inversion very simply, because see, from here to here we go. Higher is the concentration, here it will become lower, and this side it will become higher. Suppose this side it is higher and the process goes down, towards downside, towards ground state, more population will be there. So the stimulated emission is like this. The photon is emitted. Now more and more photons are coming from the outside. Some electrical current is there, and that will cause the stimulated emission and the release of energy. This metastable state is the state between the ground state and high energy state, because we know that in high energy state condition, electrons cannot remain for longer time, so it will fall, and then due to transition, due to some it will not suddenly fall, but it will stay for some time at metastable state. So we are calling here ground state as level 1, metastable state as level 2, and the high energy state, here it is highest, is level 3. So there are 3 levels, so we call it as 3 level laser, which operates only if the ground state is depopulated. Please understand, this phenomenon takes place only when the ground state is depopulated. When it is densely populated, it will not happen. There must be vacancy to recombine. The electrons will recombine with the, or let us not talk about holes and electrons, but let us think that when electrons want to come to the low energy level, there must be space. So when it's densely populated, it will not happen. So what is required? Depopulation. So as atoms or molecules emit light, they accumulate in the ground state, where they can absorb the stimulated emission and shut down laser action. So most of 3 level lasers can generate pulses. What is this statement? The meaning of this statement is, when they reach to the ground state, and absorb the stimulated emission, then the laser action will stop. But due to stimulated emission, no continuity, will be there in the output of laser. So we will get the output in the form of pulses. Because when it falls down from high energy to low energy level, then it will release some energy, and that energy is in the form of pulses. It will generate some pulses when it goes down from high energy level to low energy level. So this is overcome because if we want continuous light from high energy level to low energy level, then we need one more layer. So we use 4-layer laser, where extra transition state is located between metastable and ground state. Between metastable and ground state, because see here, metastable state is already here. Look at here. But what do we want? One more. You see here, there is high energy, that is highest energy level state. You can see at the top. Then higher metastable state, where this is metastable, means we are having 2 metastable state. Please understand, when we have energy states between ground state and high energy state, all those states are called as metastable state, where the electrons remain for very, very small duration. So we have one more state, transition state, where transition will happen. So we have 2 metastable states. So in total, we have 4 number of states. That is level 1, level 2, level 3, and level 4. So let me use pointer here. See, level 1, level 2, then this is level 3, and this is level 4. Okay, so this is the meaning, that this is overcome by laser when an extra transition state is located between metastable and ground state. This allows many 4-level lasers to emit a steady beam. So when we make certain arrangement, we get a steady steady beam, a focused beam, not as the pulses, but a continuous beam we will get to as a laser output, as a laser output. This is what we have discussed. The population inversion is still there. This is lower metastable state. Natural depopulation is taking place. Here it is going down. But you can see between two metastable states, there is a stimulated emission which is powerful and it is generating a laser beam because all these pulses are coherent. All these signals, the photons are coherent with same frequency phase, and therefore they constitute a narrow beam. They constitute a narrow beam. We get a beam output or laser output from the laser. So what are the laser components? The laser components are, we have already seen the diagram, the constructional diagram. The population inversion can be produced in gas, liquid or solid, but most laser media are gases or solid. This can be, the population inversion can take place, that is the transition can take place either in gas, solid or liquid, but mostly in laser, the inversion takes place in gases and solids. Laser gases are contained in cylindrical tubes and excited by an electric current or external light source, which is called as pumping. You have seen this structure. External light source will be there from where the pumping will take place. And that cylindrical structure is here. All right. This is what is the cylindrical tube and excited by an electric current or external light source, which is called as pump. So we need pumping operation so that stimulation can happen. The solid state lasers may also use semiconductors or transparent crystals, which can have small concentrations of light emitting atoms. This is one more diagram you look at here. This is a mirror matching wavelengths so that all the wavelengths which are generated, there is a matching process here. There is a matching phenomena here. And due to the matching phenomenon, all these waves will be synchronized, will have same wavelength, same frequency. So this matching takes place here at the output of laser. So laser beam we can get here as a fine, narrow focused laser beam. And there is a lamp here at this area which pumps energy either as a light or we can also supply electrical current. This is a solid material, cylindrical structure you can see, partially transparent mirror, I have already explained you, full mirror, partially transparent mirror and matching wavelength. So these are the components present in the laser. So an optical resonator is required. We need one optical resonator. In the laser, optical resonator will require. What does optical resonator will do? What does it do? This is required to build up the light energy in the beam. This is formed by placing a pair of mirrors facing each other so that light emitted along the line between mirror is reflected back and forth. Look at here. I have already explained you that there is one mirror here and there is another mirror. So there is arrangement of two mirrors, right? And therefore light travels back and forth. So that structure is called as optical resonator, which is required to build up the light energy in the form of beam. So when population inversion takes place in the medium, whatever medium is there, the light reflected back and forth increases intensity with each pass through the laser medium. Whenever there is a population inversion, what is population inversion? We have seen that the electrons, they are going down from high energy level to low energy level, or the low energy electrons are going up to the high energy level because of absorption. And when they are going down, releasing the energy. So due to this population inversion, the light reflected get reflected back and forth between the two mirrors. The structure is called as optical resonator. Back and forth. See, resonator means some resonance is there. So back and forth it's coming. That increases the intensity of light, which is, traveling back and forth. So in laser cavity, one or both mirrors transmit a fraction of incident light, which is transmitted as a laser. As you have seen that there is one partial mirror, transparent mirror, from where one small amount of light can be passed, and that too after applying through resonator structure. So we'll get a beam as a laser output. So in the laser cavity, one or both more mirrors transmit a fraction of incident light that forms the beam. You see here, the process is explained here in a simple manner. You see, there is a fully reflected mirror and there is lasing medium. Lasing medium means lasing operation. This lasing operation will be between the partially reflected mirror and fully reflected mirror. So you see here, atom in a ground state is this one, right? So lasing medium at ground state, this is the ground state. Now excited atom, when excited atom is there means there are no excited atoms you can see. It's because of population inversion. You supplied the energy. Now the spontaneous emission and stimulated emission, both you can see here. The stimulated emission is this one, right? The spontaneous emission you can see here, the emissions are taking place here and there, but stimulated emission is taking strongly with more power in certain direction. And see, they are all forming different light waves, and they're all combining because of same wavelength. And finally, the stimulated emission builds up, and the coherent light, which is sum of all the waves, is generated here, and that forms a beam. So the combination of laser medium and resonator cavity forms a laser oscillator. Please understand. Laser cavity, resonator, and laser medium. This scheme, this particular combination is called as laser oscillator, because oscillator is very much required. The device generates light internally. When oscillator is there, the generation of light is intensified, will get more amount of light. So without mirrors and resonant cavity, laser will act as an optical amplifier. Only that can amplify light from external source and cannot generate beam. So when there is no cavity or without any mirror, it will act as an amplifier, light signal will be amplified, but it will not be generated as a strong signal, because the combination of the two, that is the mirror and resonant cavity, is not acting as a oscillator. So laser light generally differs from other light because it is limited to narrow range of wavelength. Other light has wide range of bandwidth, whereas it has narrow range of wavelength, not bandwidth. It consists of, that is, phase and the frequency are synchronized. Stimulated emission produces a second photon identical to one that stimulates a new photon having same phase, wavelength, and direction. The new photon which is generated can again stimulate a new photon which will have same frequency, phase, and direction. So both are coherent with respect to each other with peaks, valleys, all in phase. They're both the peak, that is peak and valleys. This stimulates the emission of other identical photons, that is in the form of light back and forth, and this is how the strength goes up, builds up, increases, enhances, and we get a powerful, intensified beam. So the degree of that degree of coherence and narrowness of beam, how narrow the beam is, how much coherence is there, among all waves, that depends on the design of laser. What is the design of laser? The beam spreading, how much spreading will take place, how much narrower it will be. That also depends on distance between the laser mirrors and diffraction that scatters light at the edge of aperture. This is proportional to the laser wavelength divided by size of emitting aperture. So aperture is there where diffraction takes place. That also affects. Greater is the aperture, slower the beam spreads. So when we want the beam not to spread fast, the aperture value needs to be smaller. A red helium neon laser emits from 1 millimeter aperture at a wavelength of 0.633 micrometer, which generates a beam diverging at an angle of about 0.057 degree. The output wavelength depends on the laser material. What color is generated, it depends on what material with which the laser is constructed, and the process of stimulated emission and the laser resonator. There are three things: laser resonator, stimulated emission, and what material. These three things determine the wavelength or the color. For each transition between different energy levels, material can produce stimulated emission over a wide range of wavelength. The range varies with nature of material. What color, what wavelength will be obtained, that depends on nature of material used and the transition. How many levels are there? Transition is taking place from which energy level to next which energy level. And the probability of emission varies with wavelength. The emission takes place at wavelength where probability is the higher. Wherever probability is highest, the emission takes place of that particular wavelength. Resonant cavities support oscillation. We have discussed cavity along with the media and the mirror. It constitutes oscillation, and that satisfies the condition for resonance, and we get a beam, powerful beam. What is that condition to satisfy the resonance? An integral number, suppose there is an integral number n of wavelength lambda, must be equal to the distance the light travels during a round trip between two mirrors. If the cavity length is L, the refractive index of material is small n. The round trip distance will be 2L because L is one distance between the two mirrors. So back and forth total distance covered will be 2L. So that cavity length, the round trip distance will be equal to n lambda divided by n, where n is this integer number. Each resonance is called as longitudinal mode, right? A particular mode is generated. But in semiconductor material, there is slight difference. But cavities are thousands of wavelengths long, and the wavelengths of adjacent modes are closely spaced. So that phenomenon is slightly different in semiconductor laser. The beams are monochromatic, which are generated, and they're used for practical applications, right from optics to the different applications. Smaller the range of wavelength, more coherent is the beam. We want degree of coherence more. So the range of wavelength needs to be small. Every light wave in the beam is in exact synchronization with every other one which is measured by coherence. Therefore, synchronization is needed. If the middle of, suppose average value of average range of wavelength emitted is lambda. So the range of wavelength and the range of wavelength is delta lambda. The coherence length will be approximately equal to lambda squared divided by 2 del lambda. These values, these different values determine, these values range from millimeters to meters. And the lasers can generate either pulsed or continuous beams. We have seen in the previous slide, either pulsed or continuous beams with average power ranging from microwatt to millions of watts. See that how much powerful the laser is. A laser is continuous wave when the output is constant over an interval of seconds or longer. Otherwise, the steady or such as some steady red color or steady any particular color is generated when the output is constant over certain duration, certain time. And then pulse lasers concentrate the output energy into a small duration but high powerful burst. The pulses are powerful small burst, small powerful pulses, but the duration is very small, not continuous. Continuity is not there. So lasers can fire single pulses or series of pulses at regular intervals. The pulses can be compressed by extremely small duration, about 5 femtoseconds, which is 5 into 10 to the power minus 15 second, in a laboratory experiment related to chemical reaction. When we are studying some chemical reaction in laboratory, there it is very, very important, essential to understand, the the smallest possible reaction in chemical process. So there small burst, powerful pulse is required and therefore in such applications, this type of laser output is used. The laser pulses are focused to concentrate high powers on small spots such as magnifier, which focuses sunlight to ignite a piece of paper. If you get a focused beam, if you just want to ignite a paper, it will simply burn. That powerful it is. The optical communication, laser as a source, laser generates the light beam used in hundreds of different applications. But since we are talking laser in context with optical communication as an optical source, so we are talking about use of laser in fiber optics, where an optical communication signal is transmitted in the form of light, and that light must travel to few kilometers. So we need a transmission, a light beam, a powerful beam that can be generated by laser kind of device. The optical signals are sent at infrared wavelength of 1.3 to 1.6 micrometers, where glass fibers are transparent as a core material. This is very important and useful in telecommunication network. All modern telecommunication network, optical lines, optical cables are distributed. Most telephone calls traveling beyond a single town through optical fibers due to powerful light beam is due to laser source. So laser is an important source as a source of generating the light, which we can see here. All right. So as you can see here, one interesting example of light source, right? This is here. These are the different the laser material generating different powerful beams. A monochromatic color. So this is one example of the material, a cable from where, optical cable from where the light is coming. From where the light is coming, from the optical fiber cable. But basically the signal which was pumped, which was generated as a light signal, was by laser diode, laser as a device. So let's sum up this lecture. This lecture is all about laser diode or laser as an optical source. We know that there are two important optical sources, LED and laser. We have discussed in previous lecture about LED that also generates light, that converts electrical signal input to light output, optical output. But the signal, the light signal which is generated by LED doesn't have much directivity, doesn't have much narrower beam. So therefore it cannot travel to long distance. And mostly this is the reason why LED is used mostly for indication or indicator, indication based applications. This lecture is about laser, where we have studied the construction, the working principle, and how the laser emits a powerful beam because of stimulated emission that we have studied. So what is more important is the stimulated emission. A photon or a light from outside or electrical current from outside can provide excitation to those electrons which are already there in high energy level. When those electrons which are there at higher energy state, they drop down or jump down to low energy state that releases the energy, and that energy is in the form of light. And that photon which is generated, and continuously photons are coming either in the form of light or electrical current. So those photons sync up with the photons which are generated, emitted. So this is how syncing and synchronization takes place, and we get more and more number of photons, and those photons constitute a narrower beam. Those photons constitute a narrower beam, which we call as a laser output. So that's all for today's lecture. Thank you.